I was in the Navy. I was stationed in the Aleutians in Alaska and wanted to send pictures home. And there wasn't an easy way to do that. And I found a book that told me how to process film and make prints, and I just started doing it myself. That would have been in the mid-50s. I've been doing this a long time. I was in the darkroom until 2005, 6, or 7 still. At Clark University, where I taught, we still teach analog photography. And so it's something that I kept an interest in all along, even though I've gone completely digital, because I also established the digital labs at Clark University so we could teach digital also. If they want a job, they have to have those skills. Analog is going to be something that's going to be kept personal, I think. It's not going to be something that's commercially viable. When I was working commercially for the University of Texas in their news service, I did nothing but photograph people all day long. Most of them didn't want to be photographed. And so I had to deal with that. And it came to a point to where I knew I wanted to make pictures for myself. You know, I felt this interest in other things. And so I would go out on weekends and make these pictures. Not people in them, but things about people. I would call myself a mountain goat. Because when you're working with large format cameras, I mean things with a dark cloth over your head, going out with an 8 by 10 inch camera, in other words, shoots 8 by 10 inch negatives, you're carrying probably 40 to 50 pounds of equipment. And I would take it anywhere I went, and I would walk miles with it. Yes, once I was a mountain goat. It's the places where there are not people that interest me most. Those are the places that I find a certain kind of solitude, a certain sort of feeling that I know what the place is about, how it feels to be there. That's what I'm interested in photographing. So when you look at these pictures, I want people to know that's what it was at that moment, and those are my feelings about that place. My wife will hold up a picture that maybe I shot 40 years ago. I can remember everything about that picture. And she holds it up, and I said, oh, that's such and such. And, you know, the weather was this, it was doing so and so, blah, blah, blah. Not the shutter speed and F stuff, but I know the moment of why I wanted to photograph that object. A photographer from long ago, when a student asked him how to make their pictures better, he said, continue to photograph that kind of subject matter until the viewer has some measure of the feeling you had when you made the picture. I did a series on Big Ben. I have a book published on Big Ben. A company out of Canada came to me and said, we want to publish your work on Big Ben. And I said, one of my friends is playing a joke on me. Because, I mean, you don't get a phone call and say, we want to publish your book out of nowhere. And so, come to find out, they were serious. And it was published in 2001 by Watchers and Company in Calgary, Alberta. And it's so beautifully reproduced. It looks just like these prints. And my wife said, don't be surprised if somebody razors out a picture out of your book and frames it and put it on the wall. I'd love to get in my truck and just drive. And we make long trips back and forth between the two coasts. And I never drive an interstate. I drive the back roads through the small towns. There was a book published about 1980, I don't know the exact year, called Blue Highways, written by a man was a literary prof at the University of Kansas. His name is William Least Heat Moon. He was a Native American. His wife left him, and he took a year in his van and drove all around the United States. If you look at the old road maps, the primary roads are in red, the secondary roads are in blue. It's called Blue Highways. Put wanderlust in my heart like you would not believe. I just wanted to go out and see the country. So yeah, that's my motivation. Large format is a film size. Normally most people know what 35 millimeter is. So we're talking about films that are 4 by 5 inches in diameter in their dimension, or 8 by 10. So the actual piece of film is 8 by 10 inches. And so the camera is like this big. They're expensive, but you can still buy them. Most of the ones that people are using are made of wood and with metal moving parts, because that lightens the weight of them. They're great fun to use, but It's hard to work in color with that kind of material now. Getting the film processed. There's only very few places that process color film anymore, and that in those large formats, and it's very expensive. A sheet of 8x10 color film costs $15. Costs $15 to process it.
Wow.
And so if you go out and shoot 10 sheets, you're shooting a lot of money. And to get it printed, there's probably only 5 places in the whole United States that are making chemically made prints anymore. The old-fashioned, what we call C prints. So everybody's scanning the color material and printing it with a digital printer. My point is, why go to all the other trouble? Just shoot it digital capture to begin with. I just want people to feel what I felt in these pictures. Have a little bit of that feeling. So, just pay attention to the details. What it must have been like to stand there and witness that same thing. I made a conscious decision in 2007 or 8, somewhere along there, to start shooting nothing but color. So I haven't shot anything in black and white since then.
Wow.
So, but you can make a black and white print from a digital file. It's easy. That's easy to do. So if I feel something I shoot in color looks better as a monotone print, I call them, I'll print it that way. But the color is because I wanted to work in color. And I didn't want to mess with color film. I tried that in a darkroom. It drove me crazy. Well, it's also perks in taking your black and white negatives and scan them and printing them digitally, because you can correct minor flaws. And in fact, there are images here in this show that have never been printed before because I couldn't print them in a darkroom. It gave new life to something that I thought was dead. The only thing I ever wanted out of all this is to leave a legacy for my daughter and my grandchild, so they can look up and say, he did that. So, and that's the great joy about my archive going to the university, is that it will live there forever. It's a great relief that it won't go in a dumpster someday. Well, I have a history in this town.
Yes.
I started in this town in the 4th grade, and all the way through 2 years of Kilgore College, and 4 years of Navy in there also. So my parents used to operate donut shops here, one on South Green Street and another one at 6th and Methvin, right near the old Benny Keith Produce Company. And my grandmother had a cafeteria in downtown Longview, across from the old Hilton Hotel.
Right.
That was a very popular restaurant. We go back a long ways in this town. We used to live on North 4th Street, which is a parking lot now,
Yeah.
for the hospital.
Yes.
So, thank you for having me. It is a great joy to do this. One of the nice things about doing a retrospective show is I get to visit images maybe I haven't seen in a while also. And so it's a delight to be here. Thank you. My name is Frank Armstrong, and this is my art.